Glover 1972 here. Of course, by now you know everybody knows me as Brian. Anyways, grumpy old gentleman. This new channel that's starting up with a bunch of YouTubers. Mike Gray 1951, James DVD Collector 1974, Ian All Things Film, Harry Maca Photos, Jay Blu-ray Collector 1971, I think. Bob, Robert Harrison. I forget the name of your channel. Have I covered everybody? Let's see. Ian, James, Mike, Jay, Harry. I think I've covered everybody. Anyways, I can't remember if all. I think maybe everybody did a review it by now of Notorious, which is the film I'm going to do a review of right now. My review's been delayed. I was sort of under the weather for a little while. I wasn't really terribly sick or anything. I was just kind of had like a little of a sore throat. It didn't last too long, and but all this it just my viewing was a little sporadic. I mean, I did watch the film in one sitting. I did the comment. I really wanted to do sort of a thorough review of this movie. So, and I've seen it before I owned this movie. I also listened to the two commentaries. I read the pamphlet inside and watched all the special features. So I'm gonna try and do a fairly short review, hopefully, and impart some of what some of my thoughts as to what Notorious is or what it's about. So the plot can basically focuses on um, this woman played by Ingrid Bergman, who is whose character's father has been convicted of being a Nazi war criminal in Miami, and she is hired by the government to go to Rio de Janeiro and sort of seduce this friend of her father's that she's known, she's met before, and he's played by Claude Rains. And the person that gets her initially starts her to get introduced to all this is Cary Grant's character, and their characters' names are the Ingrid Bergman character's name is uh, what is it? It's Alicia. Alicia, yes, Alicia. And then Devlin is the Cary Grant character, and Alexander is the um, uh, Claude Rains character. So anyways, that's the plot of the movie. So she's got to find out secrets of what these Nazi, because he's hanging around with the Nazis. Claude Rains. Um, there is a movie that I found out that came out around the same time period as this film did, which sort of ran around, sort of tread the same ground. And I wish I could remember the title, but it said in the commentary, I think it's the second one, by Rudy Belmer, saying that there's a film. I think that happens some of the time in Hollywood. They'll make a movie, and sometimes just by accident. Some really a lot of time, fair amount of the time on accident. Though somebody will write the same kind of story, but they don't. These people haven't met each other. The two screenwriters haven't met each other or anything like that. But anyways, so like with the first commentary, I noticed she was I can't remember her name, but she was analyzing it from a Freudian perspective, um, and I think what this movie is, it's sort of like a very restrained way of doing things. Now, it was sort of restrained by the fact that they had the Hays Code, and at that particular time, you couldn't show things like blood or or kisses that were more than 3 seconds long, or immoral kinds of things like nudity. So they had to skirt around those things, and there's like suggestions of sexuality in this film, and you have to really dig into it to see those things. But like when a bottle breaks and it reveals something essential to the motivation of the plot, it also could have another connotation in a sexual way. The doorways can have sexual connotations. The beds, just well, um, the the Freudian mother son kind of thing that was basically really harped upon in Psycho, is also apparent in this film as well, obviously, with Alex and his mother played by a German actress. And so I don't want to give up too much of the plot away, because then it would just ruin the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. But um, Alicia, played by Ingrid Bergman, she's not. This is what I read in the notes here. She's not a typical noir woman. She's not a femme fatale, and she's not the other one. A femme fatale or a I can't remember, but she's sort of she's not a a love object, that's what it is. Yes, so she's neither. She's sort of in this nebulous area, like she's sort of a mysterious woman. So she sort of um, subverts or gets around the conventions of the normal noir kind of genre. So even though they're making a film contained in the noir genre, it sort of separates itself. And I think that's one of the strengths of this movie. Not to bring down any of other Hitchcock's films, because Hitchcock was a great director. He made a lot of great films. And in fact, my favorite Hitchcock film would be Vertigo. Probably second would be Psycho. Obviously, he pulls out all the stops in those types of movies. North by Northwest and Rear Window and The Birds. It was like his golden period. But he also had other periods in his life, in his film career, where he did some incredible, impressive stuff. If you take a look at Strangers on a Train, Shadow of a Doubt, Blackmail. I can't remember all of it too well, but and The Lodger, and incidentally, as a note, Hitchcock put himself into 36 of his 60 films. He makes a cameo in 36 of his films. In this particular film, when the party is being held at Alex's house, Claude Rains' house, Hitchcock takes some champagne from a table when Cary Grant is walking to the table to take some champagne from the table, and he walks away. So that's his signature appearance. And so what can I say about this film? It's just And the fact that this particular commentary, there were two commentaries. The Rudy Bellmer one, the second one was from like the early '90s, I think. The other commentary, if I can read this right here, um, let me see. Oh, Hitchcock scholar Marianne Keene. Um, yes, or yeah, Marianne Keene. So she's um, interpreting the film from a Freudian perspective, which is fascinating. She's showing like keys are like um, um, openings to different facets of facets of a personality. I don't know what I'm saying exactly, but and I think it's sort of fascinating to hear what she's saying, but I think Freud has sort of been debunked by this point in time, that he's sort of become he's sort of become his work has sort of been dated now. But I still think it's fascinating to hear this film analyzed from a Freudian perspective. Um, and I think the great thing about this film is the restraint. Um, there's great scenes in it, like the signature scene. One of the great signature scenes is the scene where the camera during the party goes like way down from the staircase into Ingrid Bergman's hand holding the key, and they had to construct an actual apparatus, because back in those days they didn't have cranes like they do now, or they did have cranes, but like it was much more of a difficulty doing, and they had to, because they couldn't see into the actual camera lens back in those days, they had to approximate. So they had to know, they had to, they couldn't see through the lens as they were filming, so they had to trust that they were doing the right thing, and they had to pull the focus at the right time. So it probably was very difficult to do. Another thing I'd like to say about this film is that at the ending of the film, the editing becomes very tight. I don't want to give too much away, but with Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman and Claude Rains and the actress who plays Claude Rains' mother, at the end of the film, the use of time works beautifully. It can be exaggerated. The time can be lengthened or it can be shortened, even though it's the same amount of time. But it can be, and this also happens in the middle of the film, or the later half of the film with the party, and with a scene that takes place in the wine cellar. Um, so the actual time that a normal party would take place is being cut up in a certain fashion to provide drama. So I guess that covers my review of Notorious. I wanted to try to give it some kind of um, bring something that I maybe hadn't been brought. So that's my 2 cents, I guess. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the near future. Check out the Grumpy Old Gentleman channel. I'll leave a link underneath the video. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.